Clap your hands if you are crazy, must say clap your hands.
Domino Thinking presents Natural Born Speakers with your host, Allison Donaghy. If you were born to talk and want to know how to build your career around it, then Natural Born Speakers is the show for you. Now grab your seat because this is the place to be. Now here is your host, Allison.
Well, hello, all my listeners out there. How are you doing? It is a fabulous day here. My sun is shining here on the west coast of BC. Loving it, loving it. Today we have a great guest. I'm super excited to have her here. We're going to talk all about supporting women in all ways, shapes, and forms. But before we get started, I just want to talk about this little fable that I heard about, and I just want you guys to all think about it for a minute or two and see how it pertains to you. So there is this farmer, and he has this horse, and the horse runs away, and his neighbor says, "Oh my God, that's the worst luck." And the farmer says, "Why do you say that? Maybe, maybe not." And then the horse comes back like a month later with 2 more horses in its wake, and the neighbor comes over and says, "Oh, you have the best luck." And the farmer says, "You think so? Why do you think that? Maybe, maybe not." And then the farmer's son was riding a horse and got thrown off the horse and broke his leg. And his neighbor said, "You have the worst luck." And the farmer says, "Well, maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Why do you say that?" And then the country goes to war, and all of the young men are supposed to go to war as well. But his farmer's son doesn't have to go to war because he has a broken leg. And the neighbor comes over and says, "Oh, you have the best luck." And the farmer says, "Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Why do you say that?" So how many times in our life do we actually look at something and think, "Oh, we are so lucky," and then look at other things and say, "We are so unlucky"? Something to think about. How do you feel about your luck? Maybe we will talk about that with my guest today, Brigitte Lessard. Brigitte, how are you?
I am feeling super lucky.
Well, I'm feeling lucky to have you.
I am very lucky to be on your show, and I'm having a great day.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. And just for our listeners, I want you to know that Brigitte loves to support women. Really, really loves it. It's her passion. So, Brigitte, how about you tell us how do you support women?
Well, I first started supporting women. I actually supported their breasts and still do. I own sportsbras.ca, and we sell sports bras and support women in that way.
I love it. And, men out there, you will not understand this, but women, there is nothing better than a good bra, wouldn't you say? For me, it's my least favorite thing to ever go do is to go shopping for them. But, wow, when you get the right one. So how did you get into that? How did that come about? Because that's not something you really decide you want to do in kindergarten, right?
No, actually, I didn't. In 1999, I opened a sports store with Danielle Goyette, the hockey Olympian. It was after the Nagano game, and she was considering retire. Well, she thought she was retiring, but went back, came out of retirement. Well, never really did retire, but so we started a women's sports store here in Calgary. And she went back to the Olympic team, and I kept the store for a while, but retail was not my thing. Mm-hmm. So I decided, you know what, I'm calling it quits. I don't want to do this for a living. And then as I was closing, women just started like, where are we going to get bras? Nobody sells those bras. So I kept it on a side business, just selling the bras. And I owned a gym for 8 years. And then my kids, blah, 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 family stuff. So I've always kept it on the side. And about 3 years ago, really started at sportsbras.ca. We're now like pretty much online. We have a bootmobile that goes on location. We're actually to Chilliwack. So we go to trade shows and we sell online and we do e-fittings. And it's a completely different way of selling bras. But the one thing that we're really different is we make it fun. And when I say fun, I mean fun. We
I have a feeling, though, that you probably do everything fun.
try to, like I'm 51. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
That is great advice at any age.
Yep. And so our tagline is less bounce for your buck. We have we have a Helga. Our logo is a Helga with big pink boobs and pink lips. And I actually have a friend that dresses up as Helga when we do our trade shows. And we make it fun, but it still is a very serious business. I love training somebody new at the trade shows because we always get like 2 or 3 women that will actually cry.
Really?
Yeah, especially when we do equestrian shows, right? Like I get this young girl comes in, she's 16 years old, size 32 E or F, and she show jumps, competes. And it's life-changing. When you can find something, it's like, you go and do your thing, and it's like you've left the girls home. And it's like...
Wow. And, and it is one of those things that you have to experience the discomfort of it to really understand it.
Yes. I've seen like a couple of YouTube videos, right, where they put fake boobs on guys so just to get to experience what it feels like to walk around with double D's all day.
Yeah. I think that's one of those things that should be mandatory in schools, that boys have to just walk around with it for a while just to know what it's like.
Exactly.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, so, we make it fun, but it's a very serious business. And another thing that happens is we get a lot of customers that, you go to the regular big name stores and, they look at you like, no, we don't have anything for you. And women just feel horrible about themselves. Mm-hmm. And then they come to us and we're like, heck yes, we got lots that will fit you. And, we've got colors and all sorts of fun stuff. And they're like, I have options? I have like 3, 4, like they just, and then they, honest to God, I've gotten emails. You've changed my life. Thank you.
That is super cool. Like, who knew that a bra could change someone's life? But it is so true. It really is. But I'm looking at your website right now, sportsbras.ca. So sports with an S, bras with an S.
Yep.
Yes. Now, how do people order this online? Like, how is that even possible? Because really, as a woman, I have to try a bunch on before I find one that I like. So how do we do this?
Well, we do exchange it. If it doesn't fit, you can send it back and get a new one. And we're in the process of doing some changes right now because the world has really changed and people love buying online. Mm-hmm. So what I'm working at right now, we do have an office here in Calgary, but we don't really do that many fittings anymore. Everything is done online. So, of course, once you've owned a brand, which one fits you. But first time you put it on, it's a little bit tricky. Most people do know their bra size or close to it. But again, it's a little bit tricky. So quite often what will happen is people will order online. And then if it doesn't fit, they book an e-fitting. And then we do a video fitting. So they show me through video how the bra fits on them. And from that, I can tell them, because I've been doing this for 15 years or longer, actually. So, I look at you and 3 questions and I pretty much know which bra you're going to buy.
Perfect.
So, I know. And it's actually become a party trick. What's my bra size? And when I guess it, most of the time I do. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But,
nice.
So we do it online, and even we do have customers as well. This is the first time they're buying a bra, so they will take the measuring tape, and I'm watching them, put around the rib and then the breast and do all the measurement, and then we order the bra from there. And, I look at you and I can tell, by your age, and then I ask you what kind of sport you do, and I know your size. And so we pretty much know which bra is going to work the best for you.
Mm. Now, are these only bras that people can wear for sports, or are these everyday bras as well?
So sports bras have come a long ways. I only sell sports bras. But, if you remember in the good old days, sports bras were you had the big uniboob squished all together.
Yes.
All bounced as one unit, and they looked awful. So you would go 2 sizes too small and just squish the heck out of yourself, and that was called a sports bra.
Right.
They've come a long ways, a lot. And as a matter of fact, I wear sports bras as an everyday wear. They look exactly, they can give you a really nice look like an everyday bra. Some of them do have extra stitching because it's for support, depending, the kind of support you're looking for. But they can make you look really nice. And the biggest difference now between a regular bra or an everyday wear bra and a sports bra is the fabric. Quite often, not quite often, sports bras are made out of technical fabric. So it wicks, it doesn't rub anywhere, so it doesn't cause chafing. If it's a wire, it will be more flexible, it will be extra covered so it doesn't poke out and dig. And so, and when you go to a regular bra, then you get into all the pretty prints and the push-up and the more about shape. But you can definitely wear some of our sports bras as an everyday wear. It lifts, it separates, and it looks great.
Perfect. Well, and people can find you at sportsbras.ca, which is great. But this isn't the only way that you support women, is it?
It is not. I also own Women Talk.
Very cool. And so people who are listening right now and you're thinking, why are we talking about bras when this is a Natural Born Speaker show? Well, because we're getting to that. And here, what's that?
A long about way to get to it.
Yeah, it is. It is. But, we got to take care of the girls first. And now that the girls are all taken care of, we can talk about your other thing. Tell us all about that. How did that come about? How long has it been going?
All right. So with sports bras, and that's where the segue is, how it's connected, I was looking for a way to give back to the community. Now, I could have done a golf tournament or a chocolate dinner or, there's many different ways of fundraising. And I had participated about 10 years ago. It was a bunch of women. There was a doctor, a massage therapist, a nurse, and it was all about women health. And my part in this was I have a boob talk, and we talk about the history of the bras and how it should fit or not. So it was all about women's health. And I really liked that. It was like girls' day out, and everybody got chit-chatting, and it was really fun. So forward a few years down, in 2012, I thought, I'm going to make my own little get-together, and we're going to charge women to come to it, and then we'll donate the money. Mm-hmm. So I had, again, like a chiropractor, a coach, a self-defense person, but it was all kind of a little bit related to health, like a podiatrist. So it was still kind of related to women's health. And it was called, I can't remember now, the Women Health and Life Seminar or something. It was a big, long name. And it was fun, but it just wasn't quite there for me. And I'm a huge TED Talk fan.
Understandably.
Yeah, I love TED Talk. I just, it blows my mind sometimes the stuff people come up with. Mm-hmm. And, on TED Talk, they can have, really amazing people sharing their ideas. So one night, 2 or 3 a.m., I wake up, Women Talk. Computer, Google it, and the name womentalk.ca is available. And I immediately bought it, and then it just started firing up, and we could just share stories. And so we put it together. In 2013, we had our first event, and it was an annual event, and we did it, we did it twice a year, and we donated all the money to the YWCA. So we raised up to 6,000, whatever it was. And then the last one we did in 2014, I put it on Meetup, trying to get more people to come. Mm-hmm. And people just started joining like crazy. And the event was over, and people were still joining the group. I'm up to 1,600 members or whatever it is now. And I thought, one event a year is not enough. Maybe I should a monthly one. And see, so I rent this little dining room. It fits, well, they told me 30, but it's probably more like 20. And I put it on Facebook, and meet up. And, if 10 people show up, I'll be happy. Well, we had 70 people RSVP.
Oh, wow.
And I was just, oh my goodness, where are we going to put everybody? And I was afraid to put out fires and all. So we knew there was interest. So we started doing monthly events. And then, and they've been selling out. Like, we've done great here in Calgary. We get about 50 people to our event monthly. Wow. And we sell out, actually, because we're actually usually bring it over the limit. Like a little. And
we won't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't. And then I thought, well, maybe we could do this somewhere else as well. And the Curves that I own was in Strathmore, which is a small town east of Calgary. So I thought, well, let's try it there. First event, boom, sold out. So we've been doing it in Strathmore since January or February. And we launched in Edmonton in May. And this Wednesday, we launched in Red Deer.
Super cool. I love it. Yeah, and so who speaks at these events?
Yeah, so why women like what we do is because, a lot of these networking groups revolve around business and your 30-second elevator pitch or, so everybody's there to sell and not many people are there to buy. So, and so a lot of people don't go to these events. So what we do that's different is we're just ordinary women sharing extraordinary stories. And that's it. That's the formula. Wow. Just local women, and we get 2 per event, and they just come up on the mic and they share their story. Now, we have had Olympians. We have had a psychologist that's worked for the United Nations. And then we have a burlesque dancer. We have a woman that used to be homeless. We have a mom, or it's every topic you can imagine. And it's a journey. Every event is a journey. It's just sisterhood, we just sit there, share our story, and you're not being sold to. That's one of our rules. If you're a talker, you're not allowed to sell on the mic.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, so there's no pressure that way. And it's truly like you just sit and enjoy yourself.
That is nice. And how long do these events run?
So we start at 7 and we try to be over by between 9 and 9:30. I mean, we got everything really laid out on the clock, but, when people start talking sometimes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it happens. And how do people apply? Like, do they have to apply? Is it sort of like open mic? When they get there, they can just put their name down? How does it work?
So every talker has to apply online. Nobody is considered until you've applied, and that's on womentalk.ca.
Okay.
And also what I have is each city has a director. So I rely on my director to find talkers, to talk to people in the community. Now, I can bring some of the people that have spoken because, I have quite a roster now of women that have spoken and love the opportunity. But I really like to keep it local as much as I can. And my little secret I always share with people is that what I like to do quite often is I'll take like a seasoned speaker and then put somebody that's never done it before. This is their first time on the mic, and they stutter, they fumble, they crinkle their papers in front of the mic. And, but these women, when it's your first time, women, we like to cheer each other on. And it's amazing what happens. Like, just the whole room gets behind them, and it is so empowering for everyone. So It's really cool. Like, I love it because, I remember even as a kid when the teacher would say, we're going to have to stand up in front of the class and share a story. I would be like pumping my fist and be so happy because I love watching people nervous and squirming in front of the class.
There is something like super cool about watching other people be brave. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. I used to be involved with this event, and it was sort of like an Amazing Race kind of thing, but people would have to do things outside of their comfort zone. And I just got such a rush out of watching people step into that fear and do what makes them feel good and something that they've, on some level agreed to do. And just being able to watch that growth that happens because you can see the growth. Like, it's one of those few places where you can just go, whoa, that person started here, they ended here. They are no longer that same person. Yeah. And to do it in front of, a bunch of other women like that cheer you on, it's amazing. It's amazing. Wow. Like,
one of my favorite talk we've had this year, we had Fatima, who's a Muslim lady that wears the hijab here in Calgary. And she's never spoken in public before. Like, she's not even on Facebook. She just, she's very outgoing, but in a way kind of, she always watches her back. Like, it's a little bit scary at times. And so she came and shared her story. What does it feel like? And she had women in tears. And so many, and she, she had never done it. She was forgetting what she was going to say sometimes. But everybody, like, it was so empowering and touching, and people were hugging her at the end, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
And she was on a high, like, oh my gosh, it was so cute to watch. Like, she was, and I'm actually bringing her to Strathmore in September to do it all over again. Like, she is all now.
Nice. I love it. So just to recap, you do them in Strathmore and Calgary and Red Deer?
And Edmonton.
Okay. So the 4 locations.
Yep. And we are expanding. I'm just kind of pausing a little bit right now, trying to look at how we're going to grow. But you can apply to get a chapter in your city on our website as well.
Yeah. I love the idea of this. I really do. Now, is there a certain size of a city that you would want to have? Like, is it, 100, 200,000 or 50,000? Does it matter?
Well, I think once we get like really small, like Strathmore is not that big. It's, I don't know, it's maybe 20,000. So, okay. But the other cities are bigger, of course. So we may consider doing smaller centers, like bi-monthly or do like one a year kind of thing. Because I think it's something that's really needed. Like, I love social media. I have built my businesses on social media. And I think that it's helped women connect like there is no tomorrow. You're busy with the kids at home, and you don't have time to go and socialize quite often. So when you have social media, you're able to connect and make new connections, but you still need that human touch, that human energy, and that's what we do. Like, it's just, like when we launched in Red Deer on Wednesday, I had people driving from Calgary and Edmonton. That's like 150 kilometers, and they drove just to come. To just be part of this. Because
and I guess when people are doing the speaking, their friends are going to come and support them as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, of course. But so it's really neat to see. Like, it's something sometimes that is lacking in our society, like story sharing.
Right.
There's not many platforms, like, unless you're a coach or you're selling something, like it's business, then there are places to do talks.
Yeah.
But, just share a story about taking your mom who's dying of cancer. Like,
right.
There's no platform for it. That's sort of what I've connected to. And that's what people love. Like, it's just, ordinary women sharing extraordinary stories.
And how therapeutic being able to, stand up in a safe space and share your experience.
Yes, I know. It's truly amazing. And to find
because we don't talk about things in this society, like we just bury it, and we're just supposed to tough it out and keep it to ourselves, and it's just not healthy. And when we're able to, get up there and share like that, I think there should definitely be more of it.
I know, and it's like it's just amazing. Like, every single event, and I don't tell my talkers what they're going to talk about. Like, they pick, and it's just something magical has happened. Like, I don't know. Actually, I should count how many I've done now altogether. It's been quite a few. But it all.
Do you videotape them?
Only our annual ones. If you go to the website, you can see some.
Right.
I decided I don't want to videotape because where we host them, it would be hard to do a high quality video.
Right.
Just angles, and you're not on a podium, like you're not on a stand or anything. So it's just the quality would not be there. And really, I want people to come. You need to come and feel the human energy.
Right.
We always do little clip hits here and there, little live video to just kind of give it a taste. But when we do our annual event, which at those events we have 6 talkers and, we make it fancy, then I hire professionals and do, they edit and all that stuff.
Right. And do you have themes for each of your meetings, or is it just whatever goes, goes?
Whatever goes, goes. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
It's so cool because it always somehow all fits together. It's mind-blowing. Always like, oh my gosh, like it all fit together again. Like it's crazy. I don't know what it is. Something happens and it all works together.
So I'm looking at your website right now, and on the homepage, it has like your upcoming events. So then it has Women in Money, Thursday, September 22nd in, I don't know what that one is. But so what would that look like? Because it does have a title of Women in Money. Is that like something different, or is that the same sort of thing?
No, that's different. So then a lot of our talkers, of course, some of them do own businesses or they have written a book. So we do not pay any of our talkers. We actually just had a vote on this to make it final. We will never pay anyone because we had an Olympian that was going to come and talk, and because she's getting so many requests, she now started charging. Fair enough. I agree with that 100%. But for what we do, we don't want anyone to feel like because you're an Olympian, you're more important than me who's just a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Everybody is on the same level. But what we do for our talkers is that, okay, so you're a coach or you've written a book, so now we're going to promote you. You can't do it on the mic, but we will promote you. We will offer your book, and when we're promoting, we'll say, like, this person has written a book, or this is a coach who does it. So we do, and then we do workshops. So the one you're looking at is actually one of our corporate sponsors in Edmonton. So she has sponsored our Edmonton chapter for a full year. And so then we promote her and what she does, and then we get her to host workshops, and then we offer our women to come to the workshop. Some of them you pay for, some of them you don't.
Okay. Well, that seems like a really great system. It seems like a very female system, like a very collaborative, feminine approach.
It really is. Like it's all.
And I don't mean like feminine, like it can only be women, because men can certainly respond in this manner as well. I'm just like, when we're talking in terms of masculine and feminine energy, this feels like a very female, feminine way of approaching something.
Yeah. Oh, you're like right in my zone right now, sister. This has been one of my things lately that I feel the world is really changing, and there's a feminine energy leadership versus a masculine energy leadership. And it has nothing to do with whether you're male or female. It's just in the way that you do things. Like, I think our prime minister, he's a man, but he has feminine energy way of leading, more like together and like all supporting each other. And
like, let's sit down and listen and hug it out.
Yeah.
And I could hug him. Like, really, if he was around and he wanted to hug, I wouldn't say no.
Oh, yeah. I'd actually jump him.
You what?
I would jump him. I just think he's so adorable.
Yeah, his security might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I know. That probably would not look good for me.
Maybe not. I imagine the press would have some way of spinning that to be bad.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, yes.
But, and the funny thing is, I always talk about this. So our prime minister, I feel, that's my just humble little opinion, is that he has a very feminine energy in the way that he leads. And then you look at Hillary Clinton, and to me, she has more of a masculine energy, and she had to get where she is. It was like the good old boys club down there, and it's tough and it's rough, and the first female that's going to break through has to know how to play the games,
right?
And so it's, to me, I watch it and it's like, oh, it's so cool to watch the difference, But
and it's such a shame that she has to show up so masculine. It would be really nice if that wasn't the case. And I think it's interesting that here we have Trudeau that can show up more feminine than Hillary can, and Hillary's a woman. And and I get that pendulum has to swing. I just think it's really unfortunate that we have to sometimes go against our nature to get it shifting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's no way she would have made it there without that masculine energy. You have to, but now, the first one has made it through. So now I think, the possibilities are endless. And it's going to get a lot better. I think that women have decided to step up more and more. And it's like, you know what? Enough of this. We don't want our sons dying, and we don't want, I think women, and we need to do it way, way more, but we are doing it a little bit now, is, we're stepping up a lot more, and we're offering a platform for women to really step up and come and share your story, and let's all help each other.
Now, is Women Talks, is that specific to personal stories, or can women get up there and talk about anything? So if they have a passion for pottery, can they get up and talk about pottery?
Yes, we do everything.
So are there any topics that are off limits?
None.
Okay.
We will talk about everything. We don't censor anyone. We, there's nothing we've even had a couple that swear on the mic and then they apologize.
Yes, we do that too. Swear. That's the girl thing.
Yeah. But we even had a couple women threaten to take their bras off.
No.
Because we, at every event, of course, my other company is involved, and it's one of the sponsors. And we, what we do is we collect bras, used bras, and then sportsbras.ca pays to ship these bras to the U.S. to an organization called Free the Girls. And what they do is they make a retail package of bras of all sizes and colors, and then send that to a third world country where a woman who used to be a sex slave and has been freed uses the bras to support herself and her family. It's a really cool program. So of course we always joke, we always say, well, if you want to, whip it off right now, stick it in the basket.
So question then, how do these women use those bras to support their families?
They sell them.
So they just, so it's just like a, so they don't turn them into anything. They just actually sell them as bras to local women in their communities. Yeah,
so it would be like in Africa or, I know they ship in a whole bunch of different places. But this is a female who used to be a sex slave. And then, they get freed from the pimps and all that. But then what? How am I going to eat? How am I going to feed my kids? So this organization, the first batch that they get is free to them. And they teach them how to do accounting and how to run a business. They really train them. And then they set up a little store or somewhere in their house or wherever. And they have all these bras for sale. And then
and what is the name of that organization?
Free the Girls. And the website freethegirls.org.
Okay.
They're based in the U.S. And then, so the first shipment that they get is free. And if their business takes off and they are making money, they can then buy the bras at a really cheap price and keep their business going. So our part in it is we collect bras. And then we ship them to the U.S. and they take care of it. Even really old, decrepit bras, they sell the fabric by the pound. And but the bras that are usable, they send them to a third world country. So it's a really it's all weaved together.
Yeah, and I think it becomes so beautiful when we can do that because. If you look at what you are doing specifically, you have created this niche in your life that serves you well. So your own purpose and desires are being met by doing what it is that you care to do. And then you open that up to other women in your community who are then able to step into maybe a more honest or more better version of themselves for having had this experience. And then by them sharing that experience with the other women, they are now creating this community that extends so far beyond themselves. And then you take that to global, how that is affecting people globally and making lives better for people we don't even know. This is beautiful domino effect of what you're doing.
I know. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I've added one more thing. Next Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
we are going to bring a bunch of women from Honduras. We're doing a Women Talk satellite. So they are going to be sitting in Honduras if the power
Mm-hmm.
is on, because the power goes off a lot down there. But I have an Edmontonian female that goes down there for half the year. So she's gathered a bunch of women, and they're going to be around the laptop, and we're going to have them on the big screen, and then we're going to have a couple of them share a story. And they're going to listen to us sharing some of our stories.
Wow. How did that come about?
I don't know. I was talking with this lady. Somebody told her she had to come down and see what Women Talk was about, and she met me, and we got talking, and she said she's going to Honduras, and I'm like, oh, we should do like a video or something, and I want to find out how do they live in Honduras? What is your day like? Where do you get the water, or what kind of house do you live in, and just that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's what we're going to share.
Huh. I love it. And I love how technology is allowing the world to shrink and make us so much more connected. Like there's a lot of bullshit out there too about, what's online and what's true and what's not true and all of that other harmful, horrible stuff that is just the nature of who we are as human beings. But it's great that it also is that platform. And I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in that negative side of media, the internet, all that we forget that it's such a great venue to do these sort of things that you're doing.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would not exist without technology. Right. Technology is amazing. Yeah, there's crap out there, but that's everywhere. Even you don't need technology for that.
Right.
My only thing about technology is usually the night of the events. There's always glitches, and it makes me sweat. It makes me sweat a lot sometimes.
Right.
We're going to see with this bringing in someone over video. We did it once from Toronto. We had a poet who, and she's a friend of mine, and she writes poetry, but her main thing is she reads poetry. So she Skyped in, and she read poetry for everybody in the audience, and she is amazing. So now we're going a step further and going to Honduras. And the plan is eventually we would do retreats as well.
Right.
So we bring probably like 10 or whatever women, and we all go down to Honduras. And we're there for a week, and we get to experience the culture and yoga and meditation or whatever we're going to do. And then every night somebody will share a talk about themselves.
And
that's
also super cool.
On the beach.
Nice.
Like, seriously, life is good.
Yeah, I'd say it would be a little martini or something. That would be fabulous. Yes. So during your Women Talk, your average show, then how many people get to speak in an evening? Two?
There's 2 talkers. I always do a little bit of an inspirational talk, and then we have in the middle, and then we have a quick word from our sponsor. It's kind of like a hockey game or something. A quick word from the sponsor. And then we also have, in between, we have another inspirational talk from one of my directors. So it would be me, sponsor, talker 1, take a break, order some more wine and food. And then we have our director, and then talker 2, and then mingle.
Nice. Now, is there like an opportunity for Q&A?
Nope.
No. So you just give your talk and sit down. And then I guess if you want to talk about things during mingling, then that would be an opportunity for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of times where, actually, I can't think of once, but it's not that kind of format, right? Like we all sit down and we hold the space for you to share your story. That's what we do. Yeah. We all here to support you, and whatever your story is, we want to hear it. So nobody's cutting in, or it's not that kind of an environment at all. It's very respectful, actually.
Right.
And no one is talking, and we talk to our servers, and it's happened. They snuck in a couple of times, and we really try to remind them, do not walk in our room when the talker is speaking.
Right.
it's very, respectful and engaged in that way.
Yes. Well, and when you're dealing with professional speakers, it's a little bit different. But when you're sharing people who are bearing their soul and perhaps are new at this, having somebody stand up or leave or walk through the space can be extremely distracting.
Yeah. Actually, it happened to me in Edmonton a couple of weeks ago, and the server was doing, I'm in the middle of, and he's like, and we were like so sold out, we were crammed. We actually had people beside the screen. They couldn't see a thing. And there he is serving wine, and he's literally a foot from me, right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
I started laughing, and I said, well, I think I'm going to take a break now.
So if a woman comes to you, she really wants to get up there, it's like on her bucket list, she totally wants to do it. Do you offer any level of support to help her prepare for it? Or do you just say, you know what, bite the bullet, get up there and do it? Like, how do you maneuver that?
It's been pretty much, you're on your own, but we are changing that. I am involved with a lady that has been teaching public speaking for 20 years. And she has the gift of teaching. She is amazing. She completely lights up and makes everything amazing when she's talking about public speaking and how to do it. So we are going to offer some workshops, and you can also videotape yourself and get her to critique and help you. And yeah, so that's in the works. We just haven't worked out all the details. But
oh, fabulous.
But up till now, people just do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes that's the best way because it doesn't become too choreographed.
Yeah, and it really is like the best talkers are those that just go out there and bare their soul.
And so if somebody wants to have one of these in their area, is there are you only branching out at a certain rate, or are you open to anywhere, or is there a criteria for it, and how do people apply?
Like I said, there's an application to open a chapter in your town. Now, I'm just in the middle of looking. So right now, I go to all the events. And I'm getting tired. A lot of mileage. So, and we want to expand. So we have to change.
Right.
Everybody. So I have like people in Newfoundland and Vancouver. Like I have Ottawa. Like it's, people are starting to come to me. So I haven't worked out the details yet on how we're going to do all of this, but you can certainly apply. And then once we've worked out all the details, we'll let everyone know. I've even had calls from North Carolina and LA.
Wow.
A couple wanting to do it in the US as well.
Love it.
Actually, I had somebody, where was it? Somewhere in Europe. That maybe England or something, I can't remember now, who emailed me.
Right. And so what is the benefit of somebody piggybacking on what it is that you're doing?
As a director or as a talker?
To have a chapter in their own town. Like what would stop somebody from just starting it themselves? Like why do it through you?
So usually my directors will be, a coach, or somebody that has a business that wants to raise their profile. Let me tell you, it will open so many doors for you as a director. Like I always tell them, you want a bank loan? Go to your banker and say, you know what? I love your story. You should come and share your story at Women Talk. Right? And then people love talking about themselves. Everybody does. So it opens doors. But it also, you're in front of people every month. You're sometimes in a newspaper. It really raises your profile. So if you own a business of any kind, being a director will really help you. Right now, we do get a percentage of the money that is made goes to the director, but you're not going to do it for the money. It's not like you're going to make big bucks. Right. Where you're going to gain from it is it's going to raise your profile and raise your business's profile as well. Nice. And we have had a few talkers, actually. One's coming to mind now. She has alopecia, and she is becoming a professional speaker now. And she started Women Talk. We have a couple of those.
Well, sometimes that's all the sort of push people need, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so being a director, it's not going to be a money making thing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, for me, eventually, it will be a great money making thing because I will have 100 of them. Right
Right.
now, I'm pretty well working for peanuts, but I'm not doing it for the money. I do it because I love. Actually, I do it for a glass of wine, not peanuts. But I do it because I love it.
Right. And what sort of venue do you use for it?
So that's the other part of the plan of what we do is this is like truly everybody helping everybody. I don't pay for my venue. I go
Mm,
to a restaurant that has a private dining room
right.
and I tell them I'm going to fill your dining room once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you get all the money from the food and beverages and you don't charge me anything. And
Right.
quite happy to do it. So that's why usually our numbers can't grow too big because then we have to move to a conference room and
Mm,
now it's $1,000. So we just couldn't, we would have to have like quite big numbers. And
yep.
if you start having 150 people, it changes the feel of the event.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we would do is, let's say the Calgary has been, because it's our longest standing one, has been selling out. So once like the numbers get really big, what we might do is host two events, one in the south, one in the north or whatever, so that we can keep it small and cozy. 50
Mm-hmm.
people is a good number.
Right.
And yeah, so then we go, and we only charge $17
Right.
to come to the event. So, pretty much everyone can afford it. And yeah, we could go to like a fancy room and charge $50, but that's not what we're about.
Well,
So,
and then, people wouldn't be able to go as frequently.
yeah. So we're all about everybody gets a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
get a little bit of money, my directors get a little bit of money, the talkers get exposure and sell their books or workshops, and the restaurant makes a little money, and everybody gets a piece of it. Everybody gets
Mm-hmm.
a piece of the pie, and we all have fun together.
Right. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the idea, love the concept, and I love where you're going with it. How you're just you're not putting all of these restrictions and rules around everything that you're doing. That it's just this fluid kind of process, and that's allowing you to Skype in people from Honduras and say, "Hey, let's be a part of this too." And there's that even further connection that you're able to create that way by allowing women here to hear about women there, wherever there ends up being.
I know,
And
I love it. Like I love culture.
mhm,
I just think it's so cool how we can all live our lives so differently.
mhm.
It kind of shocked me when the first time I went to Europe. I remember being in Holland and I ordered a Diet Coke and it was like 2 inches tall, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And then my sister-in-law who lives there, we were laughing. And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, when you come to Canada, I'll show you. So when she came the following year, I went and got like one of those super big gulp, and I said, now that's a Diet Coke. And she had never seen anything like this. Like just simple little things sometimes that you don't even realize, right? We just
Yeah,
live our lives like so similar, but yet so different. And I love
yeah.
finding out about everything.
That is so cool. Right. So where do you see this ending? Like what in your perfect world is this going to look like?
Well, it's going to be across Canada for sure. I,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Canadian to the core. I love my country. I think we have the best country in the world, and I want every Canadian woman to be able to go to Women Talk if they
Mm-hmm.
want.
Right.
And then so first it's Canada, and I mean, like I said, I've got a couple of requests, and if I go south, and I got to get all my ducks in a row before I ever go there, but this could get very big very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, yeah. So I just need to make sure. It's very important to me that the systems are all in place so that it stays what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't become something I don't want it to be. And sometimes, if you go to another country, they might want to get a little glittery on you or something. So
Mm-hmm.
we just got to make sure that, it stays what it's supposed to be as we grow, which is
Right.
always the very hard thing to do. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Once, there's money and there's potential and offers and, like it can get out of hand very quickly.
Right.
But I'm always open-minded too. It's like I'm always open for great ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing about small business and creating something that when you have that open mind, really the sky's the limit. You can do whatever it is that you wake up at stupid o'clock in the morning thinking that you can do,
I
which is
know.
exactly what you did.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too is that all of the women that are coming to the events, they all feel a bit of an ownership to it. They're sending me talkers and they're sending me other cities that should have, like, especially the Calgary women, because we've been doing this for a while, but even Edmonton right away. Like, women show up and they're like, okay, what can I do? Like, they don't care about being paid or anything. I just want to be part of this. What can I do? Anything you need, I'm here. And they'll work the door. They'll, like, whatever. Like, it is so cool.
Because I think intuitively people understand the healing and the growth and the purpose of it all.
Yes. And it really is healing. Like, it's so cool to, quite often we think we're alone in the crap, sorry for my French, but, the stuff we're going through, and you're alone. And then if you get the courage to step up to the mic and share the story that is so hurtful to you, and somebody looks at you and goes, the same thing happened to me. Or, I totally get it. And you're like, there's something very amazing about that. Like, we've had a couple people share their story of sexual abuse, and all of a sudden there's people in the audience who had never told a soul and now are being changed and touched and like, it's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Somebody else understands my pain. And it's so healing.
Right. What a gift.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's like, and really, like, I came on, all I've done is created the platform. That's my part in it. It's all the women getting up.
I wouldn't say that's all you've done. I'd say that's pretty significant.
but like, in the end, it's not my stories. I mean, I have a couple, but there's like, they would get bored very quickly.
Yeah,
like,
you're opening that door and letting other people walk through.
Yeah, like I just create the space, and then they all come and help me hold the space, and women just share their stories, and it's so cool. And it's like, I love it. Like, I approach people and I always go, so when are you going to share your story? And they're like, oh, no, never. I can't do this. And, then they come the following event. See, like, when are you going to share yours? And I'm like, well, maybe one day.
Yeah. I had a storyteller on my show earlier this year. She's one of the top storytellers in Canada, perhaps even internationally, I'm not sure. But there is something just magical about stories.
Not many people that do it. We should all be doing it.
And it transforms people. Like, it really turns... It changes the energy. It changes the feeling. Like, I also own a house painting company, and when my customers are feeling a little bit stressed out because, we're going through renovations and it's not the most fun time for most people. And when they're getting really, really antsy, sometimes I'll look at them and I'll say, so how did you guys meet? And they go, oh, remember? And then they tell me the story of how they met. And all of that stress and angst just sort of melts away as they go back to that place in time and share this moment with me. And I'm always so honored to hear it.
Yeah, I know.
And the passion and the emotion that they tell it with it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we all have stories. That's the really cool thing. And it's great for me because I have an endless pool of people to come up and share stories. Yeah. And people can come up more than once, Like, all have stories. The good, the bad.
Oh
the
my
ugly.
God, yes. Yes, we do. I love it. I love it. Well, we're almost out of time, believe it or not. That was a really quick hour. We have about 5 minutes left. So what I'd really like to do during this time is to have you tell our listeners how they can find you in all of your different fabulous forms. And then just leave a parting thought for our listeners.
Well, I am everywhere on social media. So, of course, if you look Brigitte Lessard on Facebook, Twitter, Meetup.
Can you spell your name for us?
Okay, it is BRIGITTE Lessard. Long
Perfect.
French name. And then the bra store is sportsbras.ca. Women Talk is womentalk.ca. And you can go to any of those places and find all the information you need. And one of my favorite line that I use and I've coined is by sharing our stories, we make our communities stronger. And it's really true.
It is.
By sharing our stories, we make our communities stronger. And, that's really what I'm about. I like to share my stories and I like to listen to other people's stories. Mm-hmm. And I hope that a lot of people will come eventually and share their stories.
Yes. Well, I'm sure they will because I suspect that this is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
I sure hope it will. I always do every event, we do the little happy dance. And
mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, as a fellow woman, I want to thank you for making this happen and creating the space for all of us to step into our bravery and share who we are with other people. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Allison, for letting me share my story with you. And,
my pleasure.
As you see, I can share a story, even a long one.
I love it, though. I love it. Yes. All right. Well, again, and thank you too for being a guest. It was a pleasure spending this last hour with you.
Thank you.
Well, listeners out there, until next Thursday, speak up because you have something to say, and I want to hear it.
Thanks for hanging out with Natural Born Speakers. But don't stop now. Contact Allison with questions to be a guest or hire her as a speaker. Go to dominothinking.com. See you same place and time next week.